literally don't it anymore.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to our Meet the Agent segment. Um, and I am Melanie Pierce with Royal LePage Triland in London, Ontario. And this is my friend Jill. So, Jill, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Jill Stewart. I am originally from Vancouver, but I have been in Calgary since 1989, which I guess dates me a little bit. I've been selling real estate in Calgary and the area for 10 years. I just had my 10-year anniversary this week.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great job. This is a interesting city. It was a big change coming from Vancouver to Calgary, especially in the late 80s. Bit of a culture shock for sure for me. Just ended up being a great place to raise a family. And I have a lot of kids, and this was a good place to do that, affordable. And I would say, really, the last few years, we've seen a lot of economic refugees from the rest of the country. So it's a bit of a hot spot at the moment, always running counter to the rest of the country. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
all
that's
about me.
true. That's true. Because when we were super busy in our area, I remember Calgary and Regina and just like kind of the prairie cities were struggling. And we
You
were
know,
talking to each other and all our problems, they're looking at us going, or you guys are looking at us going, what the hell are you talking about?
yeah, it honestly, it seems that it's always counter to the rest of the country. At the end of the day, even though that we've really diversified our economy here, we are reliant on oil and gas and will be until there is none of it left, I guess. So, so as goes oil and gas prices and the price of a barrel of gas goes, really Alberta to a lesser uh, extent Saskatchewan as well. So yeah, 2014 was the last boom. Then our economy went really south. 2015, as you guys picked up, and your market went crazy for the next 7, 8 years.
You did.
COVID was the great equalizer. We all kind of ended up in similar situations. But what happened was that with the rise in the ability to work from home and from companies to have remote employees, people started looking at coming to Alberta, particularly Calgary. I mean, we're 1.5 million people. It's not like we're a burb. So low business taxes, low property taxes, no HS or no provincial sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
We just pay the GST. So people started to think this would be a great place to bring companies. So we ended up with a lot of med tech companies, a lot of tech companies, period, coming here, health companies, and lots of new interesting business, including renewable energies.
Yeah,
So
which is
that,
great.
it
I
is
mean,
great, thank goodness.
essentially that subject matter, that's a whole video onto itself. But I mean, I'm still at the questioning point of how's this going to all end? And I think a lot of people are at that. Like,
Yeah,
some of the options, is that actually the best option, or are there other options out there? So let
yeah,
me ask you, so I love Calgary actually. I like visiting Calgary. It's funny, for years I flew into your airport and then back out to somewhere else like Nanaimo or
yeah, fair
whatever.
enough.
And for ages I had never visited Calgary, and then in recent years I've been able to visit a few times, which I was like, this rocks. I love the feel of the city.
Yeah.
I love
It's
the
vibrant, it's
restaurants, and
young, it's got the
yeah, I
highest
would say that's probably
population.
it.
It's so much going on. And with
Yeah.
those young people that came, sort of COVID and post-COVID, came the requirement for us to have a better cultural, vibrant food scene and whatever. So there's just been a real renaissance. It's interesting politically as well to look at our province. We sort of all get painted with one brush. But the truth of the matter is that the big cities vote very similar to other big cities in the country. We just have a big rural vote, which so it's interesting. We're in a dichotomy the same way that a lot of Canadian provinces are at the moment.
It's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. And I never thought of it, but I'm not there, right?
Yeah,
I'm here. So our issue is a lot like people see Toronto. and they don't really see a lot outside of Toronto and Ontario.
Mhm.
Much like I have family in New York State, but
Yep,
they are not in New York, you know?
right,
So
totally.
and,
Yep,
and when I go to, places like where my cousin lives, South New Berlin, people go, "Where the heck's that?" And
where's
you go,
that?
out in the middle of nowhere, and no,
Yeah,
your cell phone probably won't work.
yep.
Deal with
Not
it.
what you think of when you immediately think of
No,
New York, right?
it's all trees and valleys and lovely roads for someone
Totally.
who rides a
Yeah,
motorcycle. I
beautiful.
always I love that area. So let me ask you, what is your bread and butter in real estate? Is it residential, commercial? Do you do a lot of everything, or is there a particular stream for
Yeah,
you?
I actually am fortunate enough to be on a team with a woman that I've known for 30 years, met her right after I moved to Calgary. She started in real estate and developers, working with developers and builders early on. I caught up with her later. So she actually runs our commercial and rural division of our team. She has a vast history. Her husband also, they live in the countryside. I sell the odd residential acreage, but my bread and butter is definitely, our team is called Avenues to Acreages, and I'm definitely the Avenues
Oh,
girl.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Your houses, condos, townhouses, maybe
all of it.
duplexes and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Much like
all of it.
me. I
Yep, just
suspect
like you. Exactly.
it would be similar. Um, and you already answered some of my questions. So how long you been in real estate? I saw your anniversary the other day, 10 years. What did you do before real estate?
Well, I started out as a stay-home mom. I got divorced when my kids were really little, so I went back to work. I ran a local sports club, a soccer club. I think there was 4,000 kids.
Cool. How do you get
It
into that
was
job?
um, it was an
Right?
interesting job. It was a necessary job for me to raise my kids on my own. So I had flexible hours. I did that, and then I launched into real estate. I have a business degree and background, but I never really worked in business until I started in real
In that
estate.
way, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. What was that British show with the soccer? He ran the club. It was
Oh,
just,
Wrexham,
which
right?
one?
Wrexham. Wrexham is owned by Ryan Reynolds. Oh, you're
No,
talking about the one
the
on
show.
mm, Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Ted
You were
Lasso.
Ted Lasso. I'm very excited about that. That makes me happy. Of course I would, right? Do you have um, a deal that you remember, a situation in real estate, good or bad, that is just something that always sticks in your mind? It was an experience, a happy or not so
So
happy
happy.
adventure.
Yeah, I was thinking about today the different deals that I've done, kind of reflecting on the 10 years. I would say the craziest thing that I did, one of my sons and his fiance were looking for a property, and they just had their pre-approval done, and they wanted to take their time. They really wanted to take their time to find the perfect house. And so I took them out the first night, and we walked into a place, and this was at the height of our frenzy in real estate a couple of years ago. And I said, as we were walking out, we're writing a deal, an offer right now. And Jesse said, Mom, we haven't seen anything else. And I said, if you've ever trusted me, you need to just shut up and listen to your mother. So on the street there, we wrote the offer. I had already pre-done a letter for whoever the prospective seller would be when we found the right house, about their history and whatever. Anyway, we wrote the offer. We gave them a 1 hour option to look at our offer, and they got it that night. And the next day, they both said, well, like, what did you just make us do? But the good news is they've been in it almost 2 years. I think they're probably up about $250,000 on the purchase. And so it all ended well, but it was a little bit crazy.
That's awesome. Like, and that's the difficulty, right? When you go out with someone the very first time, I
Yeah,
find it quite scary when they go, "Yep, this is the one." And I go, "We haven't seen any others. Do we think
I
this is
know.
right?" But there are times when you just know as the
Well, and I
agent, you
think with
just sort of know.
access to
And
virtual
you
tours and good
right.
photos online, and they've already talked to you 10 times, I feel like they have already narrowed down what used to take 2 weeks to
Sure.
narrow down, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I guess it's more efficient. I mean, everything about our business is more efficient, but more
Yeah,
technical now. So
for
that
sure.
changes everything. But that's awesome. You could do that for you. Did you say it was your daughter or your
My
son?
son, yeah,
Oh,
my son.
nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. So let me go look at the list now because you did so your market is up right now. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I would say from 2021 to 22, we probably rocketed about 20%.
Wow.
Um, 2023, probably about 11%. We really have plateaued, I would say, in 2024, but no pullback the way the rest of the country has seen.
Yeah.
We still have a shortage of inventory. You know, you can still get into a decent two-bedroom, one bathroom apartment condo with underground parking for under $300,000.
Oh, that's good.
So that is accessible to new buyers in a way that maybe in London, that accessibility is a few years down the road of
Yeah,
diligent savings. And
sure.
what is your average, let's say, detached home at the benchmark at the moment?
It's funny because I do a market update as well, and I just did it recently, and I almost like I think it's I'm looking at it. Our
Good.
average price in London solid. So I didn't take London St. Thomas. Now that is
Right.
London St. Thomas. Ainsley Tracy, you'd probably have met her. She works out there. We work
Yeah, yeah.
particularly Shelby and her work together quite a bit
Okay. Yeah.
because they're the same age and they're close friends now. But 615 is our average
Detached.
residential rate in London. How's that compare to Calgary?
So does that include condos and
That
attached townhomes?
includes, yes,
That's
all
not just detached.
residential.
Yeah, we would be closer to the 550 mark, I think,
Oh,
at the
okay.
moment.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting. That's
Yeah. So
interesting.
our
I know.
detached homes, I think we're at about 760, 770 for a
Okay.
benchmark price in the
And I'd have to,
detached.
like, I didn't pull the detached on its own. I just
Yeah.
pulled the average price. But maybe I'll think about pulling that from now on. It's interesting because the different ways we give out this information. I always
Sure.
look and go, for a while there, things were changing so quickly that I was
Yeah.
definitely doing month by month. And I continue to do that just because you can see just a little bit of volatility
It's
in
really good value for your clients that you do that for them. You know, I can't tell you the number of agents that I've dealt with across the country that just don't have a clue what's really happening in their
in their
markets other
market.
than what they're fed by their regional boards or whatever.
Yeah.
So your clients are lucky to have you
Well,
digging deep for that
thank you
stuff.
very much. So, so you said you have a large family. I
I
want to hear
do.
about your family. Who do you call family in your world? Tell me a
Well,
little
isn't
bit
that a
about your
good
numbers.
question? Yeah, that is a great question. So I have three biological kids, 29 years old, 27 years old, 22 years old.
Hmm.
Um, as a teen, I took in another son, early teens, and he is now part of our family as well. So four kids, and then my partner, Nick, who we have been together for about 15 years. He had three kids that are 43, 33, and 25.
Wow.
So seven kids that I would call my kids, and then the assorted, there's always somebody else. Currently, I've got a girl living here that's one of the boys' friends, girlfriends that needed a
Sure.
place to live for a couple
Yeah,
months.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I
yeah,
suspect you would run your house a lot like I would. Like it was
like, yeah,
always a bit of an
exactly.
open door policy, and if someone needed a space, they got it. I
Yeah.
remember years ago when I was in a relationship and I had three kids and he had two, and I kept on saying to my then friend and assistant, she's still my assistant, she's still my friend. Uh,
Good.
that's a good sign. I remember saying the word step, and she said, "Stop saying the word step." And I
Yeah.
said, "Okay." And I didn't even think about it. It was not something that occurred to me that I should think about this at all. And she says, "Nope, that just causes distance. Get rid of that word." And
Oh,
that
I love
was
that.
it. And I just went, "Okay." But
I love that.
Kathy's a smart girl, and I love her dearly.
Yeah.
Um, and do you have grandchildren?
So yes, step grandchildren. There are three. I have three. My biological children have not had children yet, although I have offered $5,000 reward for the first one to give me a grant.
You should make a poster, right? The old fashioned with the
Oh,
curls
I
and
text
edges.
them and I also text them names that I would like with a
That's
dollar
so
figure
funny.
attached. If they use that name, they get $500 or
Oh,
whatever.
I'll have to remember that.
It's not working. It's a total waste of my time and energy.
Wow. You don't know that yet. The results aren't in. The results aren't
You know
in.
what? The offer's off the table. Like, I'm going to give them another year
Done. I'm
and
done. You
that's
guys
it.
are pain in the ass. Well, that's what I say to my children. That's so funny.
Oh, you're
Um,
100% right.
so um, now we're going a little off topic, which is going to be
That's
fun.
okay.
In the last 5 years, is there anything you've read that you just go, it's stuck with you? A book, it can even be an article. I don't even care. I just want to, if it's a book, even better.
I have severe ADHD, severe. And so reading a book is never, I can't. Like,
Oh,
it's
do
an
you ever do
impossibility.
like do you do Audible? Do you listen to books or anything?
Yeah, I do
Okay.
when I'm driving.
Yeah,
But
me
it,
too.
it has to be kind of, so usually it's a detective book,
Oh,
something
cool.
like that. I
Okay.
just read an Irish book, my family's Irish, about a senior citizen's home, and there was a murder, and I really loved that. There's also a book that's been made into a movie called A Man Called Ove was the original title. I think
Right.
Tom Hanks played it in the
Oh,
movie
yes.
about
I
an
just
old
saw the
cranky
advert the
man.
other day.
Totally reminds me of my partner, Nick.
No, you told them? Should we send the
No,
video when we're done?
I will not share this. No, I
Okay,
will not.
fine. Fine.
Yeah, I'm not good at reading. It is
Oh,
not, I
no,
shouldn't say
yeah.
that. It's not a strength for me. I wish that it was because I really admire people and think that they look really intelligent and, kind of well
So you
sourced.
don't have to read, but if you want to, there's a Instagram I don't know what they call that, something to follow. And
Okay.
it's handsome guys who read. You should look it up. It's
Oh,
hilarious. And they will find
okay.
famous
Well, I'll show
actors
you what I actually
on the
am
subway
doing right
reading.
now. Currently, I decided to audit a history
Oh,
course.
nice.
Sounded like a good idea at the
Oh,
time. I'm a little overwhelmed
oh
because
wow.
I've got an essay due and they've asked me to use citations in the essay, and I don't know what a citation is. And I also got a long thing about how you can't use AI to write your paper. So I'm feeling a lot of pressure and wondering why exactly I thought that would be a good
Oh
idea
my
at
God,
this
that's
time in
so
my life.
hilarious. Maybe you should talk it out loud and then turn it on paper. Because
I
I
think so.
also don't have a very good attention span. There's no doubt about it. I've never been, but there's a reason why there's certain locations that w don't work for me. And I
Yeah,
actually, right? Like, and I have to kind of
totally.
batten down the hatches, make a rule. No, you will send that email and then you can go play with the dog.
Isn't that
Which,
true? I
yeah,
think a lot of realtors suffer with this kind of personality. I think
best job.
it's what makes us good at our job because you can juggle 15 balls at the same time. But I just literally looked at an envelope that I addressed to a broker in BC today, and I looked at it, I put it downstairs beside my keys, and I recognized that I won't send it for probably another month, even though it's got a
It's
stamp on
ready to
it.
go. It's
It's
ready to
addressed,
go.
it's right
Yeah.
there. I'm just going to stare at it for another month
Yeah.
before I
I
put it in
feel
the
like
mail.
I have a yield before things are finished. I
Totally.
have a yield. And I would say it was a stop sign, but nowadays I sit there and go, send the damn email or
Right.
make the damn call. Like just
Not
and
true.
uh, like it's like and I just sit there and go, what the heck am I doing? Like, so I've gotten better at it. So if I
Yeah.
don't get back to someone absolutely immediately the moment that they phone me, trust me, this is healthy for both of us. And
Yeah.
just,
Right.
I will get back to you as soon as I absolutely can, and I will do it for sure.
I
But
agree.
I'm learning balance. I mean, I feel like um that's true, right?
It
So
is.
do you have a favorite place on planet Earth?
I do. My parents bought a cabin on the West Coast, in the Sunshine Coast area. And it's a lake on an island on a lake in the ocean. There's no electricity, no power, no cell phone. You're not allowed anything higher than a 10 horsepower motor on your boat. There's only like 12 or 13 cabins on the lake. We've got a wood burning stove that heats the cat. Like, this is rustic. Now, I can't do it for more than 4 or 5 days or I start getting squirrely, but that is the most peaceful place on the planet and the best place to kind of get in touch with your people like that are with you and, drop all the
Sure.
things. A place where you would play a game of cards and have a
And not be
conversation
on
over
your
a glass
phone.
of wine or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
That's
you have a favorite
I
place?
what's that?
Do you have a favorite place?
I probably have several favorite places, to be honest with you, and most none of them I own at all. There's places in the world I think are quite amazing. There's a place in Panama, the Bocas region, and it's a spot where you move from island to island, so you don't travel. It's best not to travel by foot. Even getting to the next town can be more
Okay.
work than it's worth. So you
Yeah.
just go out and you hail a boat, and it's from island to island, boat to boat. It's a cool
Maybe part of loving stuff like that is
yeah,
we live in this society where, and I'm guilty of it. Anytime I go somewhere I love, I was in Italy the last couple of years,
Italy's
and now I'm
beautiful.
like, I have to buy something there. Why do we feel we have to buy something everywhere we go? Can't we just like, because the whole time I'm there, I'm trying to figure out how I can buy some property there.
Yeah,
Well,
and I look at it too, and I do the same thing. And then in the back of my mind, I know I'm gonna want to go somewhere else and check it out. Like the Highlands of Scotland. There's another
right.
spot.
Totally.
Like,
We talked about
shut
your trip.
up.
Yeah.
Like that was insane. And Italy, like there was we went to I'm not going to remember the name of it, I think. Cortona. Cortona? It's the place where Under the Tuscany Sun, that town
Okay.
she's in, that was
Okay.
it was filmed there.
Yeah.
I could name a million places. And I don't
Right.
want to own them because I love to move around. Right now I'm at a friend's house watching their dog, to be honest with
Right.
you. Right?
Right.
So I love like I really am deep down, and someone told me you're not
You're a
supposed
bit
to
of a
use this word
nomad for sure.
anymore, that I'm a bit of a gypsy. And I
Yeah.
do like that. And I
Yeah.
figure if I'm a gypsy, I can say the word gypsy. I don't know. Like
I think
someone
so. I
said to
think
me,
you
you
can
can't
own
say
that.
that. And I said, really? You can't? It's a thing now? Um, if
You can
you
call
had
yourself a traveler.
yeah, a traveler.
Good
Yeah,
traveler.
pretty much, right? I'm a piece of baggage. Um I'm just a haul it around. So if you were able to have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Mm, well, there's two people. One would be my dad, who was my absolute favorite human on the planet and the person who I looked up to more than anything. He's been gone 10 years. So I would love to show him what his daughter, who struggled with being a single parent and whatever, has been able to grow, organically in terms of a business. And so how great my kids are thriving, and you can judge that in a million different ways, but I judge it because they're really freaking cool human beings.
Right.
So he would love that too.
Yeah.
And I think I've been reading snippets because that's all I can manage of poems that Maya Angelou wrote. And there was one, and of course, I see a lot of this on social media because that's exactly the time frame I can listen to
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
I would love to pick that woman's brain. Yeah,
It
that's
would be
pretty
kind of cool to spend some time with her. I agree with you. I think
cool.
there's a there's so many layers. She's an onion. She's an
She's an
onion.
onion,
Yeah,
totally.
I
I'd
would
love
love
to
to.
hear what she would think of the state of things and how Kamala Harris did and how everything turned out. And I'd love to hear perspective on that from
And I
somebody
find
else.
it very interesting because she'll go down to just really kind of real life, just small situations. And you say, you know, but I miss them. And she's the type who says, so miss them, right? Like
Yes, so why?
she's so wise and deep, and automatically she comes up with what makes total sense. And that was right there in front of you. And you go, wow, she's really
Yeah, I
cool.
agree.
Um, do you have a hobby or something you do, a sport, something you do outside of um real estate?
My history club. currently.
Seriously.
I go to Pilates. I go to Pilates because I don't have to sweat very much. And I do feel as a woman I turned 60 this year coming up. And I feel like so much going on with our bodies at this age. But I think strength and flexibility is critical. Also, I hate to do any form of cardio whatsoever.
Oh, that's so
So I
funny.
feel like Pilates is a good
I like
um,
that. Yeah, I lift weights, and it's
option.
for the same reasons. And Pilates and lifting weights will also keep your bones strong. I mean, they always say,
100% fight that
working out.
osteoporosis as we age.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's
totally
really
agree.
important. I think I knock on wood. Where is some wood here? I haven't actually broken anything, but I probably should have by now. Nope,
Yeah, you
I'm
probably should have.
babysitting my friend's dog, and
Are you
no,
talking
no
to the
barking,
dog?
no barking
I thought
at
you
me.
were talking to me. Nope, Jill, that's enough.
Nope,
Stop
no
talking.
barking. He's such a sweetheart, actually. Okay, if you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be? Quick, quick, quick,
Whew.
because they're the best.
Okay, loving,
Yeah, 10 minutes.
um, fun, and hardworking.
Okay, fair enough. Um, those are good, loving, fun. Those are good ones. You're a
What
good
would be yours?
person.
Do you know them off the top of
Um,
your head?
Mine, um, I guess I would say I'm funny. I'm um, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I'm off the top of my head. I can't think. I think I'm funny. I think I'm
You are
smart.
funny.
I
You're
think
kind,
I like my own company. I like other people's company, but I like my own company.
independent.
Independent.
Yeah.
And
Bit
I
of a risk
grows it.
taker on your motorcycle.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah. And lucky enough to have been invited into those types of things. So yeah. So favorite season for you?
Spring, summer.
Spring, summer. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And
I love the
favorite drink?
fall. I know I love the fall, but the fall means the winter's coming.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
favorite drink, dirty martini.
Ah, very good. I was trying to sneak that in with the season so people would have to drink, would have to answer really quickly. I went right there. Have to drink really quickly. No, you don't have to drink quickly. Have a slow drink. Why not? Nonprofits. Who do you support in your world? Who you feel strongly
Yeah,
about?
definitely the Royal LePage Women's Shelter gets the bulk of my support. I do volunteer on some boards. There were a couple of schools in Africa that I was working with some people on opening. And I'm really keen on trying to find people in the community, women particularly, who need a leg up to start their own business or
Nice.
just get back on their
I
feet
like that.
again. So that
Yeah.
ties in nicely to the Royal Page Women's Shelter.
I
I
like
was
that
one
one.
of 10 people, one from each province, who bought the Royal LePage fur coat this year at the national
Ah,
conference. So
nice.
the fur coat over its lifespan has raised $228,000 so far. It is the ugliest jacket ever known to man. It was bought for like $3.84 or something at
Yeah.
a
In
secondhand
St.
store.
John's, Newfoundland.
And we
Yeah,
bid on it every
lovely.
year. And so there were 10 of us. I think in total, we paid $24,000 for the privilege of the coat this year.
The
So
stinky
it'll come
coat.
to Alberta. I'm the Alberta coat guy this year. It'll come to Alberta for Stampede. So stay
Oh,
tuned for
nice.
details. Jill drinking dirty martinis at
And their
Stampede in a fur coat.
dirty, questionable coat. But coat worth tons of money. Get your head around that, right? Um,
Totally.
so my final question to you, it's a difficult one. Who's your
Okay.
favorite agent in London, Ontario?
Mel Pierce followed by Shelby Pierce.
She'll appreciate that. She'll appreciate that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So our recording time is there's kicking me out soon. So I'm gonna thank you. Thank you for coming out.
My pleasure.
Um,
Thank you
and
for having
um,
me.
and we're gonna do a little quiz at the end of this one. I meant to do it the last time, but I felt pressure when it said you're out. So I may have to go pro on this. program. I want to ask everyone out there, including you, and you can respond to it now as long as I think we got about 6 minutes left. Do you think that we'll ever do, or do you think it's useful for people to do listing or offer presentations in face-to-face anymore? We used to do that, right? And then with all of
Sure.
COVID and all that stuff, we stopped doing it. Do you think it'll come back, or do you think it's the way of the dodo bird?
You know what? I think it depends on the agent. I think older agents who are used to doing it will bring it back because there is value in it, so much value. But I think that our industry is changing with automation, with the people, the young people who want to use it, and there are lots of great tools in the automation. But my deep fear is that we're going to miss the human connection in all of this, which is, not to sound too sappy, but I think what we bring to the table as agents. So I like to sit in front of my people. And as I mentioned earlier, when I am providing an offer to a buyer from my clients, I submit a story about my clients. And out of all the offers I've ever written, it's maybe made a difference 10 times, but those 10 times my clients may have got the house they wouldn't have got otherwise. Sometimes they got it for less money than somebody else offered.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think that that personal touch that your older agent might bring
yeah.
to the table is important. I really
I
do.
I
So
think
I
with so
hope that
much
we see that.
information, yeah, and I think that with so much information
Yeah.
out there, I think a lot of what we do is streamlined. It's not rocket science. It is the personal stuff that we do. And when people have issues, personal issues with the way things are working, whatever, that's where we we earn our gold. That's where we earn it.
I
Like
totally agree. I
on
mean,
the
you're sitting
personal
in front of
stuff.
it, let's say a couple, an elderly couple selling their lifelong home. And if all you're doing is sending them a spreadsheet about what's on each offer, you can't read whether or not they're overwhelmed. And maybe we need to back off for a minute and
Sure.
ask everyone for a couple of hours. You can't tell if yes, let's take it is yes, let's take it, or yeah, let's take it. And you need, as an agent, you need to know that. So face to face, 100% always, whenever you can.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for that. I think that we should I think I want to make a point of you saying you send out those letters when you make an offer. I think that's something that a lot of us can pick up on. That's an awesome cue, and I think we're all learning from each other, and that's
Absolutely. I
something to
like that
take
about
with
this
you.
company. So,
So
yeah.
have a good lunch because I know this is your lunch time. So have a good
It is.
lunch, and I'll see you
Thanks.
on the next hangout. Thank you very
Sounds
much for
great.
coming out, Jill. You're the
Thanks.
boss.
See
See ya.
ya. Bye.